Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
Edith Wharton entered a world of considerable privilege, a gilded cage meticulously constructed by generations of New York's established aristocracy. The mid-19th century saw this society solidify its traditions, its manners, and its deeply ingrained expectations, creating a seemingly impenetrable fortress of inherited wealth and social standing. Within this opulent, yet rigidly defined, landscape, young Edith Newell-Jones navigated a childhood marked by profound awareness of social codes and a keen, often critical, eye for the intricate dance of human interaction. Her family, the Joneses, were pillars of this elite stratum, their lineage and fortune providing access to the finest education, the most exclusive circles, and a life insulated from the harsher realities faced by most. Yet, this very insulation, this very protection from the quotidian, fostered a unique form of intellectual and emotional confinement. The societal problem Wharton implicitly addressed from her earliest awareness was the stifling nature of this high society existence, particularly for women. The expectations placed upon young ladies of her class were clear and unyielding: to cultivate accomplishments suitable for attracting a good marriage, to maintain impeccable decorum, and to embody the aesthetic ideals of refinement. True intellectual curiosity, a probing engagement with the complexities of the human condition, or any deviation from prescribed feminine rules were often viewed with suspicion, or worse, with polite dismissal. Wharton, however, possessed an innate sensibility that chafed against these limitations. She absorbed the nuances of her environment with an almost anthropological intensity, observing the subtle power dynamics, the unspoken judgments, and the carefully curated performances that characterized the lives of her parents and their peers. This was a world where reputation was paramount, where the appearance of virtue and propriety masked a far more intricate reality, and where genuine emotional expression was frequently sacrificed on the altar of social expediency. Her early education, while extensive in its provision of languages and the arts, did little to satisfy a deeper intellectual hunger. The prescribed curriculum, designed to shape a suitable wife and hostess, offered few avenues for rigorous intellectual exploration or the development of a critical, independent mind. Instead, her true education occurred in the quiet observation of her surroundings, in the deciphering of social signals, and in the burgeoning appreciation for the power of language. She found solace and stimulation in literature, devouring novels that offered glimpses into worlds beyond her immediate experience and, crucially, provided models for understanding and articulating the human heart. The problem presented itself as an atmosphere of superficiality that often accompanied the privilege she enjoyed. The challenge involved forging an authentic voice and a meaningful engagement with the world from within a context that seemed designed to suppress both. Wharton's unique solution, nascent as it was in these formative years, began with the act of seeing clearly. She developed an extraordinary capacity for detail, a scrupulous attention to the minutiae of social behavior, the turn of a phrase, the subtle shift in posture that could betray a hidden emotion or a concealed motive. This was her initial approach to confronting the limitations of her upbringing, to understand the architecture of the cage itself, to map its intricate workings with precision. Her early engagement with literature served as both an escape and a training ground. She learned from the masters of storytelling, absorbing lessons in narrative structure, character development, and the art of evoking atmosphere. The problem of translating this keen social observation into compelling literary form was one she would grapple with throughout her early career, but the foundation for her approach was laid in these years of absorption and quiet contemplation. The enduring relevance of this early period lies in its exploration of the psychological impact of restrictive environments. The challenges faced by Wharton, though specific to her time and social class, resonate with timeless questions about individual freedom versus societal expectation, the cultivation of authenticity in the face of conformity, and the power of observation as a tool for both understanding and resistance. Her privileged background, rather than insulating her from conflict, provided the very context for its emergence. The meticulous construction of her social world, with its elaborate rituals and unspoken rules, became the raw material for her burgeoning artistic vision. She began to recognize that the superficial gloss of her society concealed a complex web of human desires, anxieties, and hypocrisies, and that these hidden currents were precisely what offered the most fertile ground for literary exploration. Her early life, therefore, was a prelude to her writing, the crucible in which the fundamental themes and the distinctive perspective of her literary career were forged. The problem of societal constraint was met with the solution of intense, focused observation and a growing mastery of the literary craft, setting the stage for a profound examination of the human condition within the confines of a seemingly perfect world. The nascent stages of Edith Wharton's literary journey reveal a deliberate and methodical cultivation of her artistic sensibilities, a process akin to the careful planning and execution of architectural blueprints. Her early forays into poetry and short fiction were a rigorous apprenticeship in the translation of acute social observation into the tangible architecture of narrative. The challenge confronting any aspiring writer of her era particularly one seeking to capture the intricate nuances of a highly stratified society, was the formidable task of rendering lived experience into compelling literary form. This involved navigating the prevailing aesthetic sensibilities, mastering the tools of language, and forging a unique voice that could articulate profound truths without succumbing to cliché or sentimentalism. Wharton's approach to this challenge was characterized by an almost scientific precision in her examination of literary technique. Her early poems served as laboratories for exploring rhythm, meter, and the evocative power of imagery. She experimented with different forms, testing the limits of language to convey emotion and atmosphere. This period was crucial for developing an internal compass for aesthetic quality, a discerning ear for the cadence of prose and verse, and a meticulous eye for the precise word that could unlock a particular shade of meaning or evoke a specific sensory impression. The discipline inherent in poetry, the demand for economy of language, the careful construction of metaphor, the subtle interplay of sound and sense provided a foundational strength that would later inform the sophisticated architecture of her novels. Simultaneously, her early short stories became proving grounds for narrative structure and character development. Wharton possessed an extraordinary capacity for observation, a gift honed by her immersion in the complex social milieu of her upbringing. She saw the underlying currents of ambition, the subtle negotiations of power, the unspoken anxieties that animated the seemingly placid surface of polite society. The problem was to translate these invisible forces into a compelling narrative arc, to create characters whose inner lives resonated with authenticity, and to weave a plot that felt both inevitable and surprising. Her solutions lay in an unwavering commitment to realism, a deep understanding of psychological motivation, and a burgeoning mastery of dramatic pacing. Consider, for instance, her early short fiction, such as pieces published in magazines like Scribner's. These stories often centered on the dilemmas faced by individuals, frequently women, within the confines of social expectation. The narrative problems she tackled involved the delicate dance of courtship, the pressures of financial security, and the often unseen compromises demanded by social standing. Wharton's unique method involved meticulously detailing the external environment, the furnishings of a drawing room, the cut of a gown, the ritual of a social call as a means of illuminating the internal states of her characters. The precision with which she described these elements was integral to her argument, revealing how the material world and its associated codes of conduct shaped individual destinies. Her handling of dialogue further exemplifies this meticulous craft. Wharton understood that in her chosen world, what was said was often less important than what was left unsaid. Her characters' conversations were layered with subtext, replete with polite evasions, veiled judgments, and carefully constructed facades. Mastering this art required a keen ear for the rhythms of natural speech, coupled with a deliberate manipulation of language to reveal character and advance the plot through implication. She developed an ability to imbue seemingly innocuous phrases with significant weight, allowing the reader to infer the unspoken tensions and desires that lay beneath the polished surface. This was an active construction of reality, a deliberate shaping of dialogue to serve a complex narrative purpose. The architectural quality of her early work resided in its structural integrity. Wharton approached storytelling with the discipline of a builder. She understood the importance of a strong foundation, the necessity of well-placed supports, and the elegance of a cohesive design. Her plots were carefully constructed edifices, where each scene, each character interaction, served a specific function within the larger design. This commitment to form provided a framework that allowed her exploration of complex social themes to unfold with clarity and impact. The problem of conveying the pervasive influence of social structures was met with a solution that mirrored those structures in its own internal logic and order. The enduring relevance of this early period lies in its demonstration of the deliberate, almost architectural, process by which a distinctive authorial voice is forged. Wharton's early writings are a testament to the idea that literary mastery is a craft honed through diligent practice, rigorous self-criticism, and a profound engagement with the very materials of life. Her meticulous attention to detail, her nuanced understanding of human psychology, and her sophisticated command of narrative technique were all developed and refined during these formative years. She was constructing a literary universe brick by painstaking brick, laying the foundation for the profound social critiques and enduring works of art that would follow. This period reveals the quiet, determined architect at work, meticulously planning the grand structures that would later define her legacy, demonstrating that the most powerful insights often emerge from the most disciplined of minds. The development of a distinctive authorial voice, a process akin to the deliberate, almost architectural, construction of a personal philosophy, was evident in Edith Wharton's early literary endeavors. Wharton's early writings serve as a powerful testament to the principle that literary mastery is cultivated through diligent practice, rigorous self-criticism, and a profound engagement with the very fabric of existence. Her meticulous attention to the minutiae of human interaction, her nuanced understanding of psychological complexities, and her sophisticated command of narrative technique all underwent a period of careful cultivation and refinement during these formative years. She was engaged in a profound act of creation, constructing a literary universe with meticulous care, laying the groundwork for the insightful social critiques and enduring works of art that would subsequently define her career. This period reveals the quiet, determined architect at work, meticulously planning the grand structures that would later solidify her literary reputation, demonstrating that the most impactful insights often arise from the most disciplined of minds. This meticulous foundation building culminates most powerfully in The House of Mirth, a novel that arrived in 1905, firmly establishing Wharton's reputation as a formidable chronicler of American society. The intellectual and social landscape Wharton chose to dissect was the opulent, yet morally precarious, world of the American Gilded Age, particularly the uppermost strata of New York society. The central problem her narrative confronts is the pervasive hypocrisy, the subtle yet corrosive moral decay, and the intricate, often destructive, power dynamics that characterized these elite circles. Wharton presents a society where outward appearances of refinement and civility mask a ruthless pursuit of status, wealth, and social dominance. Within this gilded cage, individuals are judged by their adherence to a complex, unwritten code of conduct, their ability to navigate the treacherous currents of social maneuvering, and their possession of the requisite material markers of success. Wharton's unique solution to portraying this world and its inherent dangers lies in her masterful deployment of realism, infused with a profound psychological depth and a devastating sense of tragic irony. She favors precise, almost clinical, observation, detailing the minutiae of social rituals, the subtle shifts in conversation, and the unspoken gestures that betray underlying intentions. Her prose is elegant, controlled, and often sharp, mirroring the very society it depicts. She allows the reader to witness firsthand the intricate mechanisms by which society itself becomes an active agent of destruction for those who, like her protagonist Lily Bart, fail to conform to its rigid dictates or who possess a moral compass that proves incompatible with its prevailing values. Lily Bart's trajectory is a study in the devastating consequences of societal judgment. Possessing beauty, charm, and a keen intelligence, Lily is nonetheless trapped by her circumstances and her own ingrained expectations of a life of ease and luxury, a life that is entirely dependent on a suitable marriage. She is a product of her environment, deeply internalizing the values of her social class, yet she also possesses a sensitivity and a yearning for something more authentic, a quality that ultimately makes her vulnerable. Wharton meticulously illustrates how Lily's attempts to maintain her precarious social standing, her reliance on the superficial validation of her peers, and her inability to transcend the economic realities of her position lead her down a path of increasing isolation and despair. Each misstep, each compromise, each moment of vulnerability is amplified and exploited by the very social structure that purports to uphold her. The novel's power resides in its unflinching depiction of this societal machinery. Wharton presents the collective attitudes, the unspoken rules, and the unyielding expectations of the entire social system as the antagonists. Characters like Mrs. Peniston, Lily's aunt, or the calculating Lawrence Selden represent different facets of this societal pressure: the rigid adherence to convention, the intellectual detachment that allows for observation without intervention, the cynical pragmatism that prioritizes self-preservation. Through Lily's experiences, Wharton reveals how a system that prioritizes wealth and status above all else inevitably crushes individuals who do not fit neatly into its predetermined categories, especially women, whose economic and social survival is so intimately tied to advantageous marriages. The tragic irony that permeates the House of Mirth is a key element of Wharton's critique. Lily's downfall is a result of a series of small, socially dictated compromises and a fundamental inability to escape the economic and emotional constraints of her world. Her innate goodness, her aesthetic sensibilities, her capacity for genuine affection, qualities that might have found fulfillment in a different context, become liabilities within the superficiality of her social sphere. The novel's conclusion, with Lily's quiet, almost passive surrender, is a devastating indictment of a society that offers so much in the way of material comfort and so little in the way of genuine human connection or moral support. The modern relevance of the House of Mirth is profound and enduring. Its exploration of social ambition, the relentless pressure to conform, and the devastating consequences of societal judgment continues to resonate deeply. The novel offers timeless insights into the complexities of class mobility, the ways in which economic dependence shapes personal choices, and the psychological toll of navigating environments where superficiality often trumps substance. Wharton's dissection of how social capital is accumulated and deployed, and how its absence can lead to ostracization, speaks to contemporary anxieties about success, belonging, and the pervasive influence of public perception. The enduring power of the House of Mirth lies in its ability to illuminate the subtle yet potent ways in which social structures can shape, and often constrict, individual lives, a truth that remains as relevant today as it was during the Gilded Age. Wharton's meticulous rendering of this world, her profound understanding of its inner workings, and her empathetic yet critical portrayal of its victims solidify her place as one of America's most insightful social commentators. The intricate dance of societal expectations, a delicate ballet of unspoken rules, and performative grace forms the very atmosphere of Edith Wharton's literary world. Following her profound exploration of the precarious position of Lily Bart, we turn our attention to The Age of Innocence, a novel that plunges us into the heart of New York's Gilded Age aristocracy, revealing the subtle yet unyielding forces that govern human connection and personal aspiration. Wharton's genius here lies in her meticulous dissection of a society where conformity is paramount, where the most profound dramas unfold not on grand stages, but within the hushed confines of drawing rooms and the silent deliberations of the heart. The fundamental problem Wharton confronts in The Age of Innocence is the pervasive and often crushing weight of social codes. We are introduced to Newland Archer, a scion of one of New York's most established families, poised to marry the beautiful and impeccably conventional May Welland. Their pending union represents the epitome of societal approval, a harmonious alignment with the established order. Yet into the seemingly perfect arrangement arrives Countess Eleanor Linser, May's cousin, a woman who has returned from Europe after separating from her husband. Ellen, having experienced the world beyond the rigid confines of New York society, embodies a different kind of freedom, a challenging allure that captivates Archer and exposes the hollowness at the core of his own predetermined life. Wharton's unique solution to portraying this societal pressure is her profound exploration of psychological realism. She immerses us in the effects of the roles, showing how they shape individual desires, stifle authentic feeling, and ultimately lead to profound internal conflict. Archer finds himself increasingly drawn to Ellen's unconventional spirit, her intellectual depth, and her genuine emotional expressiveness. She represents a world of passion and intellectual engagement that his life with May, however comfortable and socially sanctioned, seems destined to lack. The tension arises from Archer's growing awareness of this disparity, a realization that his commitment to May is a commitment to a life of comfortable superficiality, a life that aligns with the expectations of his world but betrays his deeper yearnings. The narrative meticulously details the subtle mechanisms through which this society enforces its will. It is in the averted gaze, the carefully worded compliment that carries an undertone of judgment, the social gatherings where alliances are subtly reinforced and deviations are implicitly condemned. Wharton's prose, with its exquisite precision and understated irony, captures the suffocating politeness that masks a fierce adherence to tradition. The characters are often trapped by their own ingrained understanding of what is proper, what is expected, and what will preserve their social standing. Archer, for instance, grapples with a consuming desire for a life of intellectual and emotional authenticity, yet finds himself continually pulled back by the powerful currents of social obligation and the fear of ostracization. He understands the consequences of defying these norms, the potential for a complete loss of status and belonging, a fate that looms as a terrifying prospect. The novel's enduring relevance lies in its timeless insights into the complexities of social pressure and the compromises individuals often make in the pursuit of belonging or in adherence to perceived duty. While the specific social milieu of the Gilded Age may seem distant, the fundamental human struggle to reconcile personal desires with societal expectations remains a potent force in our own lives. Wharton's portrayal of Archer's internal conflict, his yearning for a more meaningful existence clashing with his ingrained sense of obligation, and his fear of social reprisal resonates deeply. We recognize in his predicament the universal experience of navigating social landscapes, the constant negotiation between our authentic selves and the roles we are expected to play. The novel prompts us to consider the ways in which traditions, while offering stability and a sense of community, can also become cages, limiting individual expression and leading to profound personal sacrifice. Furthermore, Wharton's focus on the subtle manipulation of social capital and the devastating consequences of its absence offers a powerful commentary on class and status. The characters' lives are intricately woven with the maintenance of their social standing. A misstep, a perceived transgression, can have far-reaching implications, leading to exclusion and the erosion of one's place within the established order. Archer's eventual decision to remain with May, to forsake the possibility of a life with Ellen, is a testament to the overwhelming power of these ingrained social forces. He chooses the predictable comfort of his world over the uncertain promise of a more authentic existence, a decision that leaves him forever haunted by the ghost of what might have been. This poignant conclusion underscores Wharton's critical perspective on a society that, in its pursuit of order and propriety, often sacrifices genuine human connection and individual fulfillment. The novel's brilliance is further amplified by its exploration of the subtle power dynamics at play, particularly in the contrasting characters of May Welland and Countess Olensker. May, the embodiment of societal perfection, represents a kind of idealized innocence, but one that is also shallow and ultimately unfulfilling for Archer. Ellen, on the other hand, possesses a worldly wisdom and an emotional depth that attracts Archer, yet her very unconventionality marks her as an outsider, a threat to the established order. Wharton's portrayal of these women and Archer's complex feelings for both reveals the intricate ways in which societal expectations define and constrain feminine roles, and how deviations from these roles are met with social disapproval or outright condemnation. Archer's inability to fully embrace Ellen and his eventual choice to conform illustrates the profound difficulty of breaking free from deeply ingrained societal patterns, even when those patterns lead to personal unhappiness. The internal landscape of Archer's mind becomes the primary battleground, where the forces of personal desire and social obligation contend. Wharton masterfully renders his internal monologues, his evolving understanding of himself and the world around him. We witness his gradual disillusionment with the superficiality of his social circle and his growing recognition of the emotional void in his impending marriage. His efforts to guide May toward a more independent and intellectually engaged life are met with her innocent incomprehension and her unwavering adherence to the conventional path laid out for her. This dynamic further highlights the pervasive nature of the societal conditioning that has shaped them both, demonstrating how deeply ingrained these patterns of behavior are. The narrative's conclusion, with Archer making a life-altering choice that prioritizes social conformity over personal passion, serves as a powerful, albeit somber, reflection on the enduring influence of tradition. It is a testament to Wharton's keen observation that she presents this outcome as a complex, deeply felt compromise born from a lifetime of immersion in a particular social order. The novel leaves the reader with a profound understanding of how deeply ingrained social structures can shape individual destinies, often leading to a quiet resignation rather than overt rebellion. The enduring power of the Age of Innocence lies in its ability to illuminate the subtle yet potent ways in which social structures can shape and often constrict individual lives, a truth that remains as relevant today as it was during the Gilded Age. Wharton's meticulous rendering of this world, her profound understanding of its inner workings, and her apathetic yet critical portrayal of its inhabitants solidify her place as one of America's most insightful social commentators. Her exploration of the gilded cage of societal expectation continues to offer profound insights into the human condition. Wharton's artistic vision, having so profoundly dissected the intricacies of American society, naturally broadened its scope, drawn by the magnetic pull of European culture and the intellectual ferment of a continent grappling with its own seismic shifts. Her expatriate experience, or from severing her ties to observation, provided a new vantage point, a prism through which to refract the enduring questions of identity, tradition, and the evolving human spirit. The United States, in its ambitious, often brash adolescence, had been her primary canvas, but Europe, with its layered history and sophisticated artistic currents, offered a different, equally compelling challenge. The problem Wharton implicitly addressed was the inherent tension between the American yearning for reinvention and the deep, often unspoken, currents of tradition that defined European existence. How does one reconcile the dynamism of a new world with the weight of centuries of established order? Her relocation to France, particularly after the personal upheaval of her divorce, placed her at the very heart of a changing cultural landscape. Paris, at the turn of the 20th century, was a crucible of modernism, a city where artistic and intellectual boundaries were being redrawn with exhilarating speed. Wharton, ever the astute observer, absorbed this atmosphere, allowing it to inform her perspective and, consequently, her writing. She navigated a world where established European societal hierarchies, while still potent, faced questioning and reconfiguration by new aesthetic philosophies and social movements. This immersion enabled her to explore the complexities of cultural adaptation, the subtle negotiations inherent when an individual or a nation engages with a foreign yet deeply influential heritage. Her engagement with America's Gilded Age, a period she vividly captured, offers insight. Viewed through the lens of her European sojourns, this American phenomenon appeared as a distinct, albeit rapid, iteration of universal human tendencies towards aspiration, social climbing, and the often fraught relationship between wealth and genuine cultural attainment. Her later works, penned from her French residence, demonstrate a sophisticated understanding of how these universal themes played out within the specific, ancient contexts of European societies. She perceived the American experience, with its rapid industrialization and evolving social strata, as a unique chapter in a much longer, global narrative of societal development and cultural assimilation. Her expatriate life allowed her to engage directly with burgeoning modernist movements across Europe. While her own stylistic inclinations remained rooted in refined realism, she was acutely aware of the radical departures occurring in painting, literature, and philosophy. She observed artists experimenting with form, challenging traditional narrative structures, and delving into the subjective experience of consciousness. This awareness fueled her own subtle explorations of psychological interiority, enabling her to portray characters whose inner lives were increasingly shaped by the anxieties and possibilities of a rapidly modernizing world. The problem she addressed involved the internal reverberations of these changes within the individual psyche, a preoccupation that resonated deeply with the modernist ethos. Works such as The Custom of the Country, though set in America, reveal this growing international perspective. The protagonist, Undine Spragg, embodies a particular kind of American ambition, one that seeks to conquer European society as a conquest. Wharton, however, presents this ambition with a nuanced critique, highlighting the superficiality that can accompany such aspirations when divorced from a deeper understanding of cultural context and personal integrity. Undine's journey serves as a study in cultural misunderstanding, a testament to the challenges of transplanting values and desires from one ingrained social ecosystem to another. Wharton's portrayal suggests that true assimilation requires profound engagement with underlying cultural currents, extending beyond the acquisition of manners or titles. Her later novels, written entirely from her French base, further solidify this international outlook. These works often explore the lives of Americans living abroad, or individuals caught between American and European sensibilities. The challenge presented is the creation of a stable identity in a world where geographical displacement and cultural cross-pollination are increasingly the norm. Wharton's solution involved meticulously rendering the psychological and social complexities of such existences. She understood expatriation as a profound rewiring of one's relationship to self and society, a transformation that went beyond a mere change of scenery. The subtle shifts in perception, the moments of alienation, the unexpected intimacies that arise from living between worlds became fertile ground for her narrative exploration. Her understanding of European modernism, while it did not lead her to adopt its more avant-garde techniques wholesale, certainly deepened her appreciation for the psychological dimensions of artistic expression. She perceived in the European avant-garde a shared concern with the fragmentation of experience, the questioning of objective reality, and the exploration of the subconscious. While her own prose retained its clarity and elegance, her characters' internal struggles began to reflect this broader cultural dialogue. The modern world, with its accelerating pace and shifting certainties, generated new forms of psychological pressure, and Wharton's fiction became increasingly adept at capturing these internal landscapes. The enduring relevance of this phase of Wharton's work lies in its prescient exploration of globalization's impact on individual identity. Long before the term globalization entered common parlance, Wharton was examining the intricate ways in which cultures interact, influence, and sometimes clash. Her expatriate novels offer a sophisticated analysis of the challenges and opportunities presented by living in an increasingly interconnected world. They speak to the ongoing dialogue between national identities and global influences, a dialogue that continues to shape our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world today. She provided a literary framework for understanding the complexities of cultural exchange and the formation of identity in a world where borders, both geographical and cultural, are becoming increasingly permeable. Her ability to synthesize her sharp observations of American social dynamics with a nuanced appreciation for European cultural traditions allowed her to create a body of work that transcended national boundaries, offering insights into the universal human condition. Edith Wharton's literary landscape is a meticulously constructed panorama of American society, painted with an unflinching gaze that reveals the intricate, often suffocating, structures of class and the profound impact these have on individual lives, particularly those of women. Her novels consistently probe the dilemmas faced by individuals navigating a world where social position is paramount and where deviations from prescribed roles carry significant, often devastating, consequences. The intellectual challenge of her era, and indeed of any era marked by rigid social stratification, was to comprehend the mechanisms by which societal expectations and economic realities dictated personal destinies, often curtailing aspirations and shaping identities long before individuals could fully form them. Wharton's unique contribution lies in her extraordinary ability to dissect these forces with surgical precision, exposing the often invisible threads that bind characters to their predetermined fates. Her exploration of class is far more than a mere backdrop. It is the very engine of her narratives. Consider the world of old New York, a realm of inherited wealth, established pedigrees, and an unwritten code of conduct that governed every interaction. Within this gilded cage, characters like Lily Bart in the House of Mirth are born into a system that demands adherence to its rituals and expectations. Lily's tragedy unfolds from her inability to secure her position within this hierarchy through a suitable marriage. Her beauty and intelligence, assets that might flourish in a more fluid society, become liabilities here, marking her as a commodity to be traded, and ultimately devalued when she fails to meet the market's demands. Wharton details the subtle cues of belonging, the correct address, the appropriate conversation, the accepted social engagements with an insider's knowledge, demonstrating how these seemingly superficial elements are, in fact, the very sinews of social power. The problem Wharton addresses is the inherent inequality embedded within such systems, where worth is ascribed by birthright rather than merit, and where the pursuit of social advancement becomes a consuming, often destructive, endeavor. This rigid class structure inherently constrains the lives of women, a theme Wharton revisits with persistent insight. In a society where a woman's economic security and social standing were inextricably linked to her marital prospects, choices were severely limited. Wharton portrays women who are educated, witty, and capable, yet whose ambitions are systematically thwarted by their gender and their social circumstances. Ellen Olensker, an American divorcee returned from Europe, embodies this struggle. Her presence in New York society, marked by the scandal of her separation, reveals the judgmental nature of the established order. She desires a freedom of spirit and a genuine connection that the rigid conventions of her world cannot accommodate. Wharton's depiction of these women's internal lives, their suppressed desires, and their quiet acts of rebellion shows the psychological toll exacted by these societal pressures. The core issue is the systemic disenfranchisement of women, their reduction to pawns in the social and economic gains of men, and the internal conflict this generates as they grapple with their own desires for autonomy and fulfillment. Wharton's genius extends beyond the mere cataloging of social ills. Her profound understanding of human psychology allows her to explore the internal landscapes of her characters with remarkable depth. The realism she espouses is a commitment to portraying the complex, often contradictory, motivations that drive human behavior. Characters grapple with ambition, loyalty, self-deception, and a yearning for authenticity in worlds that often reward artifice. The psychological truth Wharton unearths lies in her recognition that individuals, even within the most restrictive environments, possess a rich inner life, a capacity for love, for suffering, and for the quiet assertion of self. Her characters are fully realized individuals wrestling with universal human experiences, filtered through the specificities of their time and place. Consider the nuanced portrayal of Newland Archer's internal conflict in The Age of Innocence. Torn between the comfort and familiarity of his predetermined path and a burgeoning, unconventional love for Ellen Olensker, Archer's struggle is a testament to Wharton's psychological acuity. He understands the societal expectations placed upon him, the role he is meant to play within the established order, yet he is increasingly drawn to a different kind of life, one that promises a more authentic emotional existence. The agonizing tension between societal obligation and personal desire, the difficulty of forging an individual identity when that identity is constantly being shaped and reshaped by external forces, is the problem Wharton explores through Archer. His eventual decision to remain within the confines of his marriage, while seemingly a capitulation, is presented with a profound understanding of the immense power of habit, social pressure, and the fear of the unknown. Wharton observes, revealing the intricate interplay of internal and external constraint. The enduring relevance of Wharton's realism lies in its continued resonance with contemporary issues, the critiques of class inequality, the examination of gender roles and the exploration of psychological truth remain potent forces in our own society. The fundamental human struggles Wharton depicted persist. Her novels serve as a powerful reminder that social structures, however seemingly immutable, exert a profound influence on individual lives, shaping opportunities, dictating behaviors, and impacting emotional well-being. The psychological insights she offered into the human capacity for both resilience and self-betrayal continue to illuminate our understanding of ourselves and the complex social dynamics that surround us. Her work compels us to examine the ways in which societal expectations, whether overt or subtle, continue to shape our choices, our relationships, and our very sense of self. Underscoring the timeless nature of her artistic vision, she provided a literary lens through which to understand the persistent challenges of achieving authentic selfhood in a world perpetually negotiating the boundary between individual aspiration and collective expectation. Edith Wharton's literary achievements represent a profound exploration of the human psyche, meticulously rendered through the lens of societal constraint and individual aspiration. Her novels offer timeless dissection of ambition, the often unseen pressures of social convention, and the persistent quest for genuine self-expression within environments that frequently sought to circumscribe it. The enduring power of her work lies in its remarkable capacity to illuminate universal truths about the human experience, resonating across generations with an unblemished clarity. Wharton's prose, characterized by its exquisite precision and keen observational acuity, provides a detailed, almost surgical examination of the social strata she so intimately understood. Her characters grapple with desires and expectations that are deeply intertwined with the specific cultural and economic realities of their time, yet their internal conflicts possess a resonance that transcends their historical setting. The intricate dance of social obligation, personal longing, and the often subtle mechanisms of power and influence that she so expertly depicted continue to offer fertile ground for contemporary analysis. Her novels serve as an enduring testament to the idea that understanding the past, particularly the nuanced social architectures of previous eras, can profoundly deepen our comprehension of the present. The psychological depth Wharton plumbed in her characters reveals a sophisticated understanding of human motivation, of the intricate interplay between outward conformity and inner turmoil. She possessed an exceptional ability to portray the subtle shifts in emotion, the unspoken desires that animate behavior, and the often devastating consequences of suppressed feeling. Her protagonists frequently navigate a landscape where outward appearances mask a complex interiority, where societal roles demand a performance that can lead to profound personal alienation. The brilliance of her craft lies in her capacity to render these internal struggles with a vividness that makes them palpable to the reader, fostering a deep sense of empathy and a nuanced appreciation for the complexities of individual lives. Her exploration of themes such as the pursuit of happiness, the nature of love and marriage, and the search for meaning within a structured society reveals a consistent intellectual engagement with enduring human questions. Wharton's characters, whether striving for social advancement, seeking authentic connection, or attempting to forge an identity independent of prescribed roles, embody the perennial human struggle for self-realization. The specific challenges they face, the rigidities of class in the age of innocence, the stifling domesticity in the house of Mirth, the moral compromises necessitated by a circumstance in the custom of the country, are presented with an unflinching realism that underscores the universal nature of these quests. The narrative structures Wharton employed were as carefully constructed as the social worlds she depicted. Her plots, often driven by subtle social interactions and profound psychological developments rather than overt melodrama, unfold with a deliberate and compelling rhythm. The elegance of her sentence construction, the economy of her language, and her masterful control of narrative perspective all contribute to the immersive quality of her fiction. She understood that the most profound revelations often emerge from quiet observation, from the gradual unfolding of character, and from the careful illumination of unspoken social codes. Wharton's contribution extends beyond her exceptional prose and insightful characterizations. She provided a critical, often unvarnished, view of American society during a period of significant transformation. Her work serves as an invaluable historical document, offering a window into the values, anxieties, and aspirations of a particular moment, yet her insights into the enduring dynamics of social influence and personal integrity retain their power. She demonstrated that the most compelling narratives often arise from the examination of everyday life, from the often overlooked details that reveal the underlying currents of human experience. The legacy of Edith Wharton is that of a literary architect, one who built intricate, psychologically rich worlds that continue to engage and provoke thought. Her ability to capture the essence of human experience, the delicate balance between individual will and societal forces, and the profound impact of personal choices within a given social framework solidifies her position as a writer of unparalleled significance. Her novels encourage a deeper contemplation of the ways in which our environments shape us and the persistent human drive to define oneself authentically amidst those shaping influences. Her artistic vision remains a potent reminder of the intricate connections between the inner lives of individuals and the external structures that define their world, offering a profound and enduring exploration of what it means to live a meaningful life.
We really appreciate you tuning into this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, Please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.